and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode 223 for the week of August 18th, 2015. My name is Ryan Higgins, who is here with me this week.
Brock Sager.
Toby.
And Charlie.
Very quiet, Toby.
Well, I heard there's this whole YouTube crowd that likes to watch these videos of soft-spoken people.
Oh.
It's a new thing.
Nice.
Yes. So maybe I'll talk like this for the rest of the podcast.
Well, good thing this isn't a video podcast on YouTube. We have a special guest. We have a special guest with us down the far end. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Brian Ellison.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Brian.
Brian's a good friend of mine, and all of ours.
Just yours?
Good friend? No, all of ours. Good friend of the store, long-time customer.
I went to a bookstore with you, man. I thought I meant something.
Long-time customer, first-time podcast.
Yeah, there you go. And
Still stuck on the it meant something to Toby.
Yeah, we went to a bookstore, man. It was a special bookstore with books.
It was
It was a special bookstore with books.
Yeah, it was a special bookstore.
It was a cool bookstore, though.
It was.
Oh! And there was one thing I forgot to tell you before we started recording. Don't talk over everyone else, not you specifically, because and I'll totally leave this in this podcast because people got to learn how I mean, just when people are talking, just talk in turns.
Ryan likes to be a jerk sometimes.
Toby.
And said live on national.
It's mostly just for Toby and Brock. So
I got you.
Yeah.
No, you'll notice he gets more irritated the more we do it, and he'll start getting more flustered.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So you guys do that on purpose?
That's when I just start
Pretty much.
muting. That's when I just start muting people. So anyway,
I still say you just need to move to Nerf weaponry.
I'm down with that.
You just get shot with a Nerf
Oh my
gun
god!
in the middle of the podcast. Thunk. All right,
I vote
fine.
for yes on Nerf guns.
So at
I will
Brock's,
shoot him when we're doing normal stuff.
So at Brock's small birthday gathering that was the other night,
You were trying to assassinate my child.
I shot your kid like 900 times with a Nerf gun. It was great.
It wasn't a Nerf gun. It was a plastic
Some
rocket.
aggression you have
It
to
was
take
a
out there, Ryan?
Nerf rocket thing.
No, it's funny when you hit kids. It makes me laugh every time.
So we give you a Nerf gun to keep under the counter, and there's kids running around in the store.
Could have used it earlier today. Good Lord. Anyway, Brian,
Yes, sir.
as you know, because you've listened to this podcast occasionally, and I've told you about this as well. When we have someone new on this podcast, we like to hear about their secret origin of if you remember your first comic.
I do.
If you remember, come give me your early day comic history, and then kind of what kept you going, or why'd you stopped, and then what brought you back, and what you're doing today in comics. Give me a little talk.
Okay. Well, the first comic that I can really remember reading was Marvel comic or Marvel Classics item, collector's item classic, I think it was called. And it was one of those 25-cent books. This is back in the 60s, so I go back a ways.
I was going to say we should also let people know that you were of that older generation.
Yes.
You got a couple years on all of us.
That's right. I do go back to the Marvel age.
Just not mentally, just physically, right?
Yes.
Mentally, you're like 12. Yeah, chronologically you're like 60 or whatever. Mentally, you're like 12. So no, you're not 60.
Come on, he regenerates
No.
every couple of years.
Yeah,
It's
he
just how
does.
it goes.
He does. He's got that Benjamin Buttons disease, where like his body gets older, but his brain gets younger. I think, right? So,
But yeah, it was the Marvel Collector's Item Classic. It was one of those giant-sized books, 25 cents. And what they did was they reprinted a lot of material, so-called classic Marvel stories, which was rather humorous since the Marvel Universe hadn't been around that long. But in that first book, you had 4 stories. Was Fantastic Four number 2, which was the introduction of the Skrulls. Amazing Spider-Man number 3, which was Doc Ock. Tales to Astonish story, which was Ant-Man. And then Journey into Mystery 97, which was Tales of Asgard. And the 2 stories that really struck me as just incredible as a kid was the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. So much so that those became my favorite comics of the 60s. And basically that was kind of my introduction to the Marvel Universe. So I was pretty much a Marvel reader through that time, got into the 70s, kind of drifted out of comics a little bit around high school or so. Always never really left. I mean, I was reading things like Howard the Duck and did read the Marvel adaptation of the Star Wars comics. But drifted out again, probably came back into the mid-'80s, and that's when comics started kind of getting interesting to me. I saw Dark Knight Returns as kind of just a great, fascinating story, and The Watchmen. I like things like Dave Stevens' Rocketeer and Mark Schultz's Xenozoic Tales. So I was reading things that weren't really superhero-related. Got into the 90s and then started like, okay, let's kind of start reading some more superhero stuff. So just kind of expanded a little bit more and started reading Marvel and started reading a little more DC books too. So
through the 70s, were you still reading at least something kind of on and off, or did you actually like stop for a while?
No, I was always reading something kind of on and off. But I mean, I would drift out. I mean, I wasn't really into buying comics on a weekly basis.
Right. But you were still following.
Yeah.
You didn't like cold stop for a decade or anything.
No.
that.
I'd probably, if I've ever been out of comics, it would I would assume maybe a few years, maybe, where maybe I didn't buy one comic.
Yeah.
It's possibly, but yeah, I was always kind of in and out. And we became more in tune to buying comics on a weekly basis, probably getting into the 90s and in the 21st century.
Now you're, because I've known you obviously the last 10 years maybe or so.
I've known you since you were a puppy.
Yeah.
So
At least 10 years.
More than that. I mean,
Is
when
it?
did you start
15?
working? When did you start working at the store?
Well, 97?
Then that's when I would have known you.
That long?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it was. Well, I think it was more. Maybe the last 10 years been a little closer. Maybe the first handful of years.
When were you working at CD Warehouse?
2000?
Yeah, so I know you.
Okay,
then.
yeah. Shit, 15 years. Man, time flies.
I'm the old man, and you can't remember.
Yeah. No, I
15 years?
These guys will tell you I got
15 years?
Sure.
97?
Ryan's got old men syndrome.
No,
completely.
2000 from CD Warehouse. Oh yeah, no, I don't remember anything. As we discussed earlier, when I apparently forgot to order you a book. So there you go. Right.
So Ryan
That's what happens.
looks young, but is actually mentally old.
Right. Oh yeah.
So you're mentally young.
Yeah.
Physically, actually, you're still in the middle there.
I'm still just convinced.
I have to tread that really lightly there.
Brian is I could never guess his age if I wanted to try.
Well, he's got that Patrick
always-
Stewart thing going on.
He does,
Where you
yeah.
don't know. Yeah, he looks the same ever
Martha
since I know him.
Stewart.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. Yeah, Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
No,
I
she's
see Martha,
old.
I knew too.
I know. What?
No, you definitely feel younger than most people I know. And you've always had this very I always joke about it, but you this very. And I think comics are I'm dead serious, and I say this to people. Comics keep people feeling young. It really is a young hobby. It doesn't matter how old you are, quote unquote. It's an exciting, fun hobby. So
Well, that's not true. I made a deal with the devil a long time ago.
Oh.
you got a mirror in your attic.
Yeah. I have a
and-
picture hanging on my wall that nobody sees but me.
Your picture. I mean, yeah.
So I read this funny thing since I brought up Patrick Stewart for no reason, or good reason. Supposedly, Patrick never read the X-Men. And when they were asking him to be Professor Xavier, I guess his what's it called receptionist or his secretary or whatever
Yes,
had a comic book, and assistant showed him a comic book, and he said, "What am I doing on the top of a comic book cover?"
Nice.
I thought that was kind of brilliant.
Funny.
You're like, "What am I doing on this comic book?"
So I know, because I sell you comics every week, but what's your current kind of reading habits for the audience? Give people an idea of what's going on with you
Well,
these days.
actually, I'm kind of scaling back more so on the superhero stuff. I'm still reading some things like Secret Wars. I like DC's Wonder Woman, which I think is one of their better comics. But I'm also kind of going old school, so I'm starting to read things from a long time ago. So like collections of Sunday comics like Flash Gordon, Alley Oop, things of that nature, Prince Valiant. So there's lots of things in the comic world that I think are really fascinating that I haven't really got around to reading. And so for me, that's a kind of a fun thing to do now, is kind of go back in time and read some of the old school stuff.
Well, it's being at least published easily now.
Yes, very much
Before.
so.
Yeah. For the first time, you can read not everything, but the vast majority of stuff.
Yeah, when I was a kid, there was no such thing as graphic novels. I mean, that if you wanted to read stories, you had to buy those 25-cent editions.
Yeah. Now, not only comic books, but you were just a well-read man, period, and a well-seen man. You are like when I think of do I have a movie guy? It's you. Like you are, which will come up with Toby. You are right there as well.
I just felt like this attack.
Brian,
on my heart.
Toby's felt attacked the whole time.
Toby is-
he cherry picks more than Toby.
Toby's
He's a
like
movie
my-
guy with
What is
Toby.
going on, Ryan Higgins? The truth is out.
Hold on.
He's going to replace you on this podcast.
Brian.
He already does better than I do.
No, Brian.
He speaks properly. He's more well-rounded.
Brian,
See you guys. It's my last podcast.
You're definitely like my like my 80s alternative, like kind of like modern movie like guy. Brian knows like a ton of classic stuff and like movie history, like real like cinema history. Like he has seen a lot of movies. So yeah. Which will come up in conversation a little bit later in this podcast.
I'm sure it will.
I will remember this, Ryan Higgins. I will remember this.
Okay. You probably own the most movies of anyone I know.
That's probably also true.
Yeah. You and Brian can fight
That I have not watched yet. I probably own a lot of movies that I have not
That's
seen
probably
yet.
true. That's probably true.
Hey, this is not a competition.
No. So
But if it was, you'd win.
I've had many long conversations with Brian about all sorts of different subjects. So I'm very happy to have you on the podcast.
I'm very, very competitive, right?
I
This
know.
makes me just like totally sit on edge right here and going, you want to go outside? We'll
I know.
we'll
I'm
figure
sitting
this
across
out.
from Toby.
Well, he'll pull out these like, oh yeah, this silent film from like 19 something with these actors, and I'm like, cool. I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, awesome, Brian.
That's usually when Ryan goes to the computer and starts pretending as if
He
he's
does
doing
the
something.
Yeah, I get that too from him actually. Quite a bit.
Whenever you hear he's reading the Wikipedia page on what you're talking about.
No, he's not.
No,
He's totally not.
I'm
He's
just
on
checking Twitter.
talking about something else entirely.
I'm making jokes. I'm playing Nagario. Like, yeah, I'm doing something else. So
Yeah,
it's
he's
fine.
doing
It's
everything but listening to you.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. I only do that to certain people. Anyway, we got a couple news stories to hit here. Thank you for your origin as well.
He wasn't done. No, I'm kidding. Were you?
No, I'm done.
Yeah.
Oh, I am so done.
These more can come out naturally as we talk here. But a couple news stories, and then we have a nice a movie that me and Brian saw a couple of days ago to talk about. But let me hit up a few of these real quick. Everyone loves variant covers, and DC has announced
Can you rephrase that?
a handful of new variant covers.
I only like it when they're normally priced and they're cool covers.
You're not going to like these then.
Easily accessible.
Well, you're going to like this first batch. DC announced. I don't always talk about the new DC covers because we always do pre-orders for these. So
DC's also going to do hip hop covers.
no. So if you want to pre-order, like we have the Marvel hip hop variant cover set up for October, on our order right now. The Bombshell cover Wave 2 is just shipping right now from DC. No. But for November, DC announced a Looney Tunes covers with art by Warner Brothers Animation on
Does
top
Michael
of.
Jordan come with that?
I don't think there's
Because
one of those.
then you probably would have had my money.
It might be on the Earth 2 Society book.
There's
I'd be down with the Jordan Looney Tune DC cover.
there's some amazing ones like a Darwin Cook Catwoman with Tweety Bird. That one's great.
Oh, nice.
Sinestro with Wile E. Coyote.
That is actually kind of cool too.
Yeah, this might get me into trouble.
One of my favorites is Starfire going after Pepe Le Pew, and he's like trying to pull away from her.
Aw.
Yeah, some are amazing. My absolute favorite though is Bugs dressed up as a mermaid, like a sexy mermaid, and Aquaman's like, huh? That is one of my favorites. Sylvester and Tweety as Dark Knight and the Dark Knight cover with Superman and Batman, where they're all like the pile of skulls or bones or whatever.
Wow.
Like some of these are amazing. I'm really excited. These are really funny.
How much for the set?
You saw the Green Lantern one, right? Marva the Martian with all the rings,
Yes.
doing the Hal Jordan pose with all the rings.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I am very excited for these.
I'll get a set.
You know,
Come on, how much for the set?
oh yeah, I mean it's whatever, like $69.99 probably. I'll have these up for pre-order on our site, and I mean obviously you guys.
Well, you already
okay.
have 2 pre-orders.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
3 for you.
Flash and Roadrunner, of course. Now you may hear me talk a lot about Disney these days. As
Well, there was a lot of Disney news.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute
Jesus.
too. Which I am definitely in a Disney mood, but Looney Tunes is what I grew up on. Really, like Looney Tunes and these guys, the classic interpretations, the 40s and 50s cartoons, when they were on TV in the 80s and 90s. Like this is my
I grew up.
This
I
is
grew up
my
on it,
jam. I love this
too.
stuff.
Daffy and Sylvester and
I only-
and Yosemite Sam.
I only had
That's good.
Speedy Gonzalez and Roadrunner.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote are always my favorite.
Yeah.
How
Always
do
been my
you
favorite.
Only have those.
Well, so this mall that I was when I was a kid, that my parents would drop me off in this little like watchy children's area where you play with other kids, and they had this little mini movie theater, and that's where I watched most of these cartoons, and they had little film strips that they would play. So there was the Roadrunner, Speedy Gonzalez were the only 2 Looney Tune ones, because the other ones was Woody Woodpecker
Yeah.
and bunch of Tom and Jerry's. So I love the Tom and Jerry's.
Yeah.
Is Speedy Gonzalez still considered politically correct? Or?
I have no idea.
I think it flip-flops back and forth periodically.
I grew up not knowing how a Hispanic person looks like, right? Because there was no Hispanics around where I grew up. So it was only in children's book where they draw them horribly with the sombreros, right? So I caught an episode of Chips on TV, and I asked Mom, I'm like, that dude, that's kind of dark. What is he? Because he's not a black man. He's not a white dude. And she said, he must be mixed because she didn't know either, right? So all my life, I'm growing up not knowing who this man was because I'm he's just a bizarre human being, right?
Aliens existed for years.
Yeah. I moved here. I got to know the culture. I love, the food, obviously, and everything. Not once has it clicked in my head, that, he could be Hispanic, right? Because I totally forgot about it. Then some late night TV show or late night TV he had infomercial and it was like, Eric Estrada. And I'm like, it's a Chips Estrada. Oh, now I know what he is. But for years, I was like, this weird human dude. He's, not white. He's not, African American. He's something in between. Yeah, so.
Good times.
Yeah.
So apparently we've learned the in-between of black and white is Latino.
Yeah, well, that's how I grew up, so I guess.
Either way, that's one of my favorite stories we've ever had on the podcast.
Toby's not knowledge of the world.
Your next favorite story is what Toby's about to do to buy this. Okay, you ready?
You sure?
So, DC announced Dark Knight 3 officially.
Oh, the Hitler book.
Right, The Master Race.
Yeah.
Dark Knight 3 by Brian Azzarello and Azzarello.
Wait, who?
Brian Azzarello, Frank Miller, Andy Kubert, and Klaus Janson.
Wait. Brian Azzarello is writing this too?
He's writing it. He's co-writing it with Frank Miller. Yeah.
So it'll get done.
So it'll happen. Yeah.
Okay, I'm actually kind of curious now.
Andy Kubert and Klaus Janson are doing the art.
I'm kind of curious now.
Frank Miller will do something.
Covers?
He's going to do at least one of the variant covers. He's going to have some. He's doing something in the comic, but they haven't really said.
Is he at this point where he could just sit there going, "All right, Brian, write this," and "All right, dude, you draw that."
It'll be the Marvel method. He'll write a plot, and Brian Azzarello will actually write the comic. We mentioned this, I believe, even last week, but we got some more info on it here.
Okay.
Are they kind of sidelining Frank Miller?
They're putting his name on it because it will sell much better with his name on it.
Frank Miller should be sidelined.
Oh, that's why I was asking.
Yeah. And it'll get done, right? Like Bark said, it'll get done if Azzarello's working on it with him.
Yeah, because the last thing he did was All-Star Batman and Robin,
which never finished. The 300
And part of
sequel.
me is very glad it never finished.
The 300 sequel.
I think I'm the only one that likes that book.
Yeah, you are.
I enjoy the art in the
hate
book.
you all.
I enjoy the style of the book, but it was not complete, so I can't enjoy it completely.
Yeah, anybody who wants to know why I have such an issue with that book, there's a Green Lantern issue of that book that explains it all.
Same thing with Wonder Woman. He did a hatchet job on Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Master Race here, okay?
Okay.
It's going to be a 32-page comic.
Okay.
With a 16-page mini-comic inside by other creators in the world of
comic books?
Dark Knight.
Oh, okay.
In the Dark Knight world. So stories about other characters in the Dark Knight world.
Okay.
The following month, each issue will be released oversized, where the mini comic and the regular comic are both the same size, oversized, like the big hardcovers that they do.
Okay.
With the slipcase and everything like that.
Okay, I'm still waiting for the point where I'm going to kill somebody to get something.
There is going to be a regular cover by Andy Kubert and Klaus Janson.
Okay.
A 1-in-10 variant. And they're going to have a store exclusive cover as well. So if we want to get a store exclusive cover, the first one DC's ever doing.
Are we doing it? Let's do a Kickstarter to raise the money so that we could get the store exclusive cover.
Because listen.
Okay.
A 1-in-10 variant cover by Klaus Janson. A 1-in-25 variant cover by Klaus Janson and Andy Kubert. A 1-in-50 variant, but no artist listed. I'm assuming that's going to be rotating. A 1-in-100 variant cover by Frank Miller. A 1-in-500 variant cover by Jim Lee.
Yeah.
A 1-in-5,000 variant cover. It's an original sketch by Jim Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So one cover.
Who do I have to kill?
5,000 copies. And I'm assuming if you do
5,000?
5,000.
Times how much? $7.99?
$6 comic.
$6?
Wholesale is about $3 on that. Say about 15 grand.
Well, a liquor store sells lottery tickets, right? Yeah.
So because they're going to do the store exclusive cover, if that counts,
we get close to that 5,000
close. 5,000 copies.
Are they returnable? It's DC. You always talk about how they're returnable.
If they were returnable, I'd do it, sure.
This is okay. I will tell you what Ryan's thought process is right now.
I did the math. It doesn't. I can't.
No. He has to do 10,000 because he will not let me have the one book, right? So we have to get two at least.
They're all different, right?
They're going to ship the 1 in 5,000 comic from Diamond just in a box, just thrown in a box with everything else. I'm sure.
Yeah.
God, no. I hope they don't.
No,
Well, I don't know. Wait, we have no idea. And how many of these could they possibly do? 2 or 3? How many people are going to do that? 5,000 copies? Jesus.
Well, the thing is you're thinking about doing the
Mile
store
High
exclusive
Comics.
and the other one and going, it could just be a free comic book day book at the end of it if I sell enough.
The best.
I'm wondering about the variant math.
The best you're doing is breaking even on this because even if you look at the 1 in 10, 1 in 25, and 1 in 50, you're going to sell those for 10. They're going to be, if people actually go for the 5,000, there are going to be so many of those in the market. The 1 in 100,
that's why you get it all pre-sold.
The 1 in 100, you could get maybe $20, $30 for. The 1 in 500, I'm sure you can get $100 for. So you get $500, right? Plus but you have to sell the sketch. And I'm sure the sketch will sell for $3 grand plus. But there's almost no way to make this work.
I smell a lot of quarter books coming out.
Yeah, exactly. So
No, they're free giveaway for free comic book day.
I give Ryan more credit. I'd say a quarter.
It'd be free comic day for a decade.
We did Superman Unchained #1s for free comic book day because
but I got 600 copies of that, not 5,000. Yeah, it was a little different.
You just get pre-sales going all over the place you possibly can. The
Just
second
Kickstarter.
you order it.
Just Kickstarter.
You can have another fire, Ryan. I mean,
I'm practicing.
You need to edit that out.
Brian talked about this a while back when we were doing the Star Wars one, and we were like, man, this is a lot, but maybe I could sell them. And then those variants went just insane, and it would have sold every single variant at $10 a pop, and it would have made money hand over fist.
It's hard to tell, though. You never
But Dark
know, right?
Knight?
Yeah, Dark Knight 3.
Had Dark Knight 2 never happened, yes, I could do it because people would be like, "Holy shit, another Dark Knight!"
Yeah.
I mean, the internet has kind of come around on Dark Knight 2. They're wrong; it's terrible, terrible comic book. But
they're wrong because they fucked up Nightwing in the book.
That book is awful. But anyway, there you go.
What book are we talking about?
Dark Knight
that's
3.
right. The one I put in back issues going, why am I even stocking this?
Master Race, yeah. No, people buy Dark Knight 2, but it's a weird comic.
Just out of curiosity, how did the Watchmen stuff sell for you?
The before Watchmen stuff?
Yeah.
Good at the start, pretty good at the end comparatively to, basically a weekly title. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was selling on par with any of the DC weekly titles. The graphic, the trades, no one cared about the trades, yeah. But the single issue sold okay. They had a really good talent on it, and I think whether you like the idea of it or not, they didn't do a disservice to the main title, I felt, and I felt they were.
No, most of the before Watchmen titles were readable.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, that was the reason for my question, which is because those are the two.
A couple were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are the two big books from the 80s, right?
Yeah,
so which still has cachet, it seems, with people. I guess Watchmen.
Yeah, but when you talk sequels, people sort of get a little shaky,
especially when you get into sequels where the original creator comes out very angry against said sequels.
Yeah, and with Frank Miller, he's turned off a lot of people in the last 10 years or so.
Especially Ryan Higgins.
If he wasn't insane, if it came out and it was great, I'd be the happiest person on earth. Yeah. I just don't have a lot of faith. The 300 sequel never happened on the comic. Never happened. All-Star Batman and Robin, the art was great, but the story was all over the friggin' place. Dark Knight 2 was dreadful. The art on it was dreadful. His art is terrible. Holy Terror was terrible.
That's a Batman book.
Yeah, kind of.
If I remember, that Frank Miller wanted to do a Dark Knight world type of comic.
Yeah,
right?
It's that one.
Right, and to me, All-Star Batman seemed to be that comic.
Yeah.
Right?
All-Star Batman and Robin is Dark Knight 0.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much how he said he pitched it.
Yeah. It just wasn't called that. But what can you do?
Because I think didn't he pitch it as year 2 or year 3?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way,
I liked it.
I'm sure this will sell a lot of copies of number 1. I don't know.
I will not buy 10 issues of number 1 like I did with All-Star Batman and Robin.
See who's around for the end of it, but a couple other small bits. D23 was this past weekend, and normally a lot of Disney news, but because Marvel...
I have to call out Marvel, though.
Why?
So for San Diego Comic-Con, they go, well, the reason why we're not doing it, and I would have been totally fine if they just said we're not doing it because we got D23.
Oh, you knew that's exactly
why. But this bullshit, like, we have no news. I'm like, of course. We don't have any news. And then, bam.
Yeah.
We'll bring in all the actors. And
right.
They make little jokies and...
Yeah, so there was a whole bunch of Marvel stuff at D23.
Johnny Depp will only come out as Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. Well, they announced the Iron Man experience, like kind of showed some stuff on it, which is the Iron Man ride at Hong Kong.
Well, that's the ride that Ryan Higgins won't go on because it's not like, Mr. Toad or the Haunted Mansion baby rides where he's just slowly getting pushed around.
Probably make me vomit, but Stan Lee came out to kind of talk about the ride a little bit. And
Stan Lee did?
Yeah, he was there, yeah.
Now, I will watch Stan Lee ride the ride. I'm down for that.
Yeah, you ride the, I forget what they call it,
do they strap you on like in that Six Flags Riddler ride where you stand and then just shoot you all over the place?
You're in the Iron Wing, so I think it's like Star Tours. I think
that's fine.
I think it's very much like Star Tours.
Do they strap you in so they swing your body around though? That'd be awesome.
I mean, I'm assuming it's like Star Tours. It jitters back and forth, and you have the 3D effect and stuff.
The illusion would be you're in an Iron Man suit.
No, you're in like an Iron Man like plane. Yeah, you're not in a suit, but you're with Iron Man fighting Hydra.
Okay, so it's totally Star Tours.
Yeah, it's Star Tours. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Which is cool. Yeah.
Star Tours, Back to the Future, my favorite rides of all time.
They also, we have to talk about the Star Wars stuff because they announced Star Wars Land.
Yes.
Which is coming to Disneyland and Disney World.
Yes. Even though I think they should have done Star Wars Land separately.
That's a whole nother argument.
Yes.
But it's going to be a 14-acre Star Wars land in the parks. It's going to be like a planet. They're going to have the cantina.
I don't understand why they're doing it in Disneyland. Don't they already have all those sets out in the desert that they could just do it out there?
Well, people go to Disneyland and Disney World.
If you build it, they will come. I mean,
actually, I have a side business I'll do. You going to go to Disneyland? You could go see the real shit here.
Yeah.
You even sleep in the desert.
Well, so, obviously, we're probably 6 years off from this being a reality, at least.
That's right. You'll almost be there for your 10-year season pass.
They got me forever now. Like, just being able to go to the cantina.
This is going to be
and
weird,
hang out with aliens.
When this opens, you're going to have so many 40 and 50-year-olds going, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah. Well, Disney's greatest move
Get
is
out of my way, kid. You don't even like 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah. Kid, you'll like this.
Yeah, Disney's greatest move is buying Star Wars and Marvel because they were always really good with the female market. Now they have this huge male market and adult market as well. And that's something that Disney's not had the greatest.
Yeah, Disney had kids on lock and they had girls on lock, but they didn't have boys after a certain age or adult males. Or even.
Well, let's be real. All right, that boys' market is speaking for those adult males. There's not real.
It's the same people.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's be real here.
But demographic-wise, according to the numbers, they're separate.
Disney did. I mean, ESPN, right? I mean, that was Disney's boys' market was ESPN. If you want to argue about it, but
that's the men one. Okay, but fair enough.
But this is coming at it from the more traditional entertainment, not the sports venue, from the entertainment venue.
Now, you know the real reason why Disney bought all of this, right?
Money!
No, you know the real reason, right?
Why?
Because of My Muppet Babies needs to come out on DVD, right?
Finally.
Because now they own the Muppets, they own Star Wars, and they own Indiana Jones.
Right.
My Muppet Babies can finally come out on DVD. They had all kinds of right issues when it was a gym.
Yep. Now they can do it.
Oh, God, I can't wait for that Muppets TV show.
Is this going to be at all the parks or just Disneyland exclusively?
Disneyland and Disney World. They're both going to have basically the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. They're going to have like all the characters walking around.
Because you think Disneyland would be tapped out by now.
So they're putting it in Big Thunder Ranch, which is the ranch area in the back where they have like the horses. They're going to do something else with them. They're going to move them somewhere else. But there's a bunch of office space that's behind there that they're going to just extend the park out.
Isn't that over by next to Toontown?
Toontown is staying apparently. So 7 or 8 acres is being.
Wait, wasn't it
looking at Toontown? It's to the left.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a rumor of Toontown out and Marvel Land coming in?
Yeah, the belief now is Marvel's getting put behind Tower of Terror in California Adventure, and they're going to have like a New York strip kind of. Like
New York and California,
Manhattan. Well, they have Cars Land. I mean, that's kind. I mean,
hopefully, it won't turn out to be the Secret Wars.
Kind of California.
You know, speaking of,
I totally want to just go to New York and California. That's
well done.
I went to New York this week. It was a nice and sunny day.
That's why you go to Vegas.
Obviously, the big thing for us out of this was they showed the Civil War trailer, which. It never leaked. No one's seen his descriptions online, obviously. But you're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls, as Brock Short would say.
Exactly.
Civil War trailer. Oh, so stoked. So excited for Civil War.
I admit, I'm a little surprised you didn't go to D23.
Yeah, I really, really should have gone.
You know, it does amuse me to no end. Pretty much at this point, I think it's much more likely you'd rush to D23 than to Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's a tenth as many people. D23 is big, but it's not Comic-Con.
But Ryan, there's no obstacle courses. Can't do a con without
getting over those small kids to get what he wants.
Can't do a con without obstacle courses, man.
See, like a convention, like me and Brock were talking about BlizzCon earlier, where it's like a convention for kind of one thing.
No obstacle courses there either, man. I'd be totally in if they had one.
There might, God,
I'd be in.
There might be, but obviously, Civil War trailer, we're gonna have to wait. That'll be happening soon. We'll see it soon enough. So we'll wait. Civil War trailer in front of Star Wars, guaranteed, right? Has to be.
It'll be in front, but we'll probably get it before that.
Has to be that weekend. So we'll see it soon enough. You know, talking to Star Wars, I at work had a European fella come by, and he told me something about called Secret Cinema that they do in the UK. And supposedly they did one of the Star Wars movies, and basically... A friend of mine went to that, to see Empire.
Did he really?
Yeah.
It sounds amazing that the whole cantina and everybody pretended to be actually that, you know, you could order drinks from the aliens and stuff like that. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And they did like a whole Back to the Future thing where...
Yep, he went to that too. He went to both. They do it in like a warehouse kind of, and they do it up like
to build everything out, right? They had electricity. It was almost like watching a movie in 4D because they actually blow shit at you and stuff like that while you're watching the movie. It's kind of cool. Take that, Mr. Cinema Man.
Point taken.
Touche.
Did you know about this? Huh?
I did not.
Well, Toby, why don't you take a seat here for a minute? Me and Brian got a lot of stuff to talk about here, okay? Thursday. Well, last Tuesday, we recorded an episode of this podcast, and we talked for about a half an hour or so.
I like how Charlie just totally picked up the book.
Charlie just grabbed the book and starts reading.
At this point, what time are we at?
So, okay, it's half an hour. Brock's going to start playing Hearthstone. Charlie's reading. Okay, so last Tuesday, we recorded a podcast here. You guys may have remembered that. And if you haven't listened to last week's, you may want to donate $1 to Patreon and go check out a little bonus episode we put on Patreon. It'll be up there forever. I'm not taking it down, and maybe we'll just release it someday too. But we give Bryce about a half an hour to go talk and wear himself out.
It's Bryce Briefly, episode 1.
Yeah, so Comic Conspiracy presents Bryce Briefly, episode 1. Go check it out. It's on Patreon.
I didn't know it was to wear him out.
That's pretty
brilliant. Yeah, I see your evil smile right there. I see your evil smile right there.
Where there'll be a sequel?
Sure.
Just so everyone knows, Bryce is doing this right now in his car. Damn you, Higgins.
So we talked at length.
I think Bryce wants to do more like that.
Yeah. We talked at length about everything around the Fantastic Four movie that came out to too much dismay last week.
Without actually seeing
Without actually, any of us have actually seen it.
Which you have fixed since.
I have. Now, Toby, I thought you want to see it.
I really want to see it.
But you just haven't had time yet.
I have not known what happened to the last week.
I think there's also a little voice in the back of your head going, I don't want to pay to see this.
No, I really do want to see it.
Brian's got a workaround for that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, I took one for the team, invited my good friend Brian, who said...
So we're calling the Fantastic
Yeah, but hold
Four
on.
movie the
It's
Fat
not
Girl?
paying fingers still bullshit because there's still people that worked on a movie that should get paid. So that they probably did, but I just feel like you should do them service.
Oh,
Movie
okay,
man.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to that point.
We'll
Okay.
get to it. So we went and saw a mid-afternoon Thursday show of Fantastic Four.
Excellent.
There was like 4 other people in the theater.
And that's why you were forgiven. Like, he told me he watched it. I'm like, where was my invitation, you asshole? And he goes, I'll watch it Thursday during. I'm like, fine.
Yeah, the
you got a
theater
point.
was pretty empty.
Yeah.
You got a point
Yeah.
there.
So me and Brian, I'll let you have your spiel here, so you can talk for a bit here. But I'm going to start us off. I think we're going to actually have a different opinion than I think a lot of people have on this movie, and that is that it's not a good movie. So don't get me wrong,
So
you're
agreeing with everyone right now.
But I think me and Brian, to a small degree, both think this movie's actually not nearly as bad as
Which was my point to begin
as
with.
people have made it out to be. Now it's not good, and
Yes, that was my point too.
we have a lot of stuff to say about this. But,
Excellent. Say it.
but there was some stuff in it that was okay.
That's what I assumed.
So Brian, why don't you just rough overview? Give me some, and then we'll get into some specifics.
Okay, one of the things that Ryan was referring to earlier was that when we started talking about Fantastic Four, when it was in the early stages of being developed, and you're hearing things like Dr. Doom's going to be a crazy blogger and things of that nature, I famously, or perhaps infamously, stated that I was not going to pay for this movie. And I wanted to see it, but I wasn't going to pay for it. The main reason for this is that, as many people know listening to this podcast, Marvel doesn't own the rights to certain properties, X-Men, Spider-Man, and, of course, Fantastic Four. And of those
film rights.
This film rights, yes. And of the...
Taking a break from your comic chart.
He's alert. But the thing that I find annoying, in a sense, is that the Fantastic Four has not been done very well by 20th Century Fox. They've had 3 tries at this, and they've pretty much not done a good job, especially with this latest movie. So after 3 tries...
4.
Well, Fox. The first movie wasn't by Fox.
Really?
That's a Roger Corman deal. Somebody.
I thought that was a Fox movie too. No, am I wrong?
There's some German guy who owned the rights to that, as I recall.
okay.
In fact,
I was wrong.
the guy who owned the rights to that was. Let me see if I have
Some
that
German
here.
dude.
Brian came all prepared here.
Yeah.
He did.
No, well, the thing was that I wanted
Brian
to have...
has notes.
Yes, I have some box office notes and things to discuss if people, if we want to go over that. But the guy's name was Bernd Eichinger, I believe. I'm not sure if that's the correct German pronunciation, but...
Now, do you think he sold it to Fox?
Yeah, if you want to talk about this for a brief sidebar, so this guy owned the rights to Fantastic Four, and they had to make a movie, which they knew, being management knew, that they weren't going to release this movie. In order to retain the rights, they had to have something in production. So they made this movie, Fantastic Four. They got Roger Corman to produce it. He didn't direct it. But the whole point was they got Roger Corman because they knew he could bring a movie in for a very low budget.
Of course.
The budget on
Famously
this... Yes.
known for that.
The budget on this movie was about $1 million.
Excellent.
Okay. And if you watch the movie, which I had just recently, as a matter of fact...
It's streaming for free right now, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see it on YouTube or Daily Motion, I think. The reason was... they wanted to retain the rights, and they didn't want to spend a lot of money on it. So in the industry, this is known as an ashcan movie, meaning you're not going to show it anywhere. They had scheduled to show it, but they never really did. Unfortunately, many of the people that worked on this movie thought they were making a movie that was going to be sent into general release. They did not know they were making a movie that was never going to be released.
There's a documentary that either just came out or was about to come out about this whole thing where they got the director and they got all the actors together to talk about this. So.
It's called Doomed, The Untold Story of Roger Corman's Fantastic Four.
I watched the trailer. It looked actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, basically what this is they have it online now, and I'm not affiliated with the site, but if you want to go, it's called doomedthemovie.com. And there you can basically, it's kind of like a Kickstarter program where you can contribute. They have everybody that essentially is involved with the movie talking about it and giving you background information. So the documentary is, I guess for lack of a better phrase, is in pre-production, but it hasn't been released.
Oh, it's not finished?
No, it's not a finished.
Okay.
It's not a finished film.
Oh, okay. I thought it was coming out.
Yeah,
pretty
for
soon
some
now.
reason it was already
Yeah,
done.
not that
was
I
a
know
while
of,
ago.
because you have to go to their site and contribute.
Yeah.
To the best of my knowledge,
Now-
and they have everything in place to get this done.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Quick sidebar too. Superman Lives is on Netflix. Did you
Yeah.
guys know that?
Oh no, is it out?
It's on Netflix.
Oh.
supposedly. yeah. I heard it's really good. A coworker told me about it. Watching it was phenomenal. I'm like, I knew they were making it. I didn't know it was actually out already. So
Yeah.
I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Continue.
no problem. So the bottom line here is that they made the movie, they didn't show it, and then this German guy ended up selling the rights to Fox.
But at least we got Daddy's got to get his rocks off.
Now the interesting thing, since this was brought up, I had not seen this movie, as I mentioned. So after I saw Fantastic Four, the 2015 version, I decided to okay, I'm not really happy with these three movies. Let me go back and check this Roger Corman 1994 version. And yeah, it's a poor movie. I mean, it looks like $1 million movie. The acting's not all that great.
It looks like a film student movie.
Pretty much. But out of all the four Fantastic Four movies, if you want to consider this one, it gets the characters right.
Yeah.
It gets Dr. Doom fairly right.
Yeah.
It seems to wear its heart on its sleeve. It does a pretty good job in trying to at least get these characters down to where...
I was going to say that the least money produced movie has the most accurate Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Right, and you really get the feeling that these people are trying to make something. I mean, obviously it's difficult to make a movie of this nature with $1 million budget, but it's an earnest movie. I mean, I've seen bad movies before, and just another quick sidebar, Ryan and I have this discussion all the time. People will say, I've heard people say in the store, Green Lantern is the worst movie I've ever seen.
We hear that a lot.
Yes. And I'm
Green
always...
Lantern is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I'm always fascinated by that because it's like when somebody says that, my first question is, okay, well, give me some examples of bad movies. For me, a bad movie can be something like Tommy Wiseau's The Room, right? It's bad, but it's kind of enjoyable because it's so quirky and weird. Or Plan 9 from Outer Space. Where I don't...
Okay, fine, you win, Mr. Cinnamon. Damn it. Damn you.
But where I really take umbrage with films is when something's really offensive, something that's so bad it offends me. So my criteria would be something like Highlander 2, The Quickening, or as some people call The Sickening.
Yeah, that one was bad.
I think
very,
isn't
very
Yes.
bad.
Isn't John Carter Vampires your favorite movie of all time?
John Carter, what?
Isn't not John Carter? What the hell's his name?
Jesus Christ.
John Carter. On Vampire Planet.
Oh, no. You always talk about
John Carpenter's.
John Carpenter's.
John Carpenter's, yeah.
Jesus, John Carter. John Carpenter's Vampires.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad movie.
Is that the one with Snoop Doggy Dogg as a vampire?
Maybe. That's always his go-to movie of
Well,
have you seen a bad movie? Have you seen John Carpenter's Vampires? That's a bad movie.
Or sticking with the Highlander franchise, I mean, Highlander 5, The Source, that movie is so offensively bad that it's beyond ridicule.
Charlie, have I seen that?
That one was.
That's the made-for-TV
really,
one?
That's the
it
one where
wasn't
Adrian
supposed
tried to
be
reboot
made
it,
for
right?
It's like some
TV.
kind of European thing.
Wait, that's the one where Adrian tried to reboot it, right?
Okay.
Charlie, put down the book, Charlie, and let us know.
Yes, I put
We
down
got
the book.
Charlie back on the podcast.
So they did basically the first two Highlander movies, then they did the Highlander, the TV series, if I recall correctly. Then they put out the third Highlander movie while the series was still on the air and popular. Then they did a fourth movie after the series ended, and that's where it stayed for many, many years. And then they decided they were going to do a trilogy called Highlander, the Source, that originally was supposed to follow some newer mortals around because they couldn't get Adrian Paul back. And then he agreed to come back. And now I bet he wish he didn't.
I'm sure he doesn't.
He solidified that he should not be doing this anymore.
Well, it was a flaw in the script. Like this.
Oh, there's more than a flaw in the script.
The scripts and everything they did with characters and stuff was just so bad. There was no saving anything in the movie. Like there was no saving grace. There was no like, well, at least they did that right.
Wow.
No, it was just so bad.
So let me get this straight, Brian. In your history of bad films, 2 of them are Highlander movies.
Yes. Oh, but there's also, the last time I've walked out of a few movies in my time. The last movie I can remember walking out of, which also makes my offensive scale, is Troll. That was pretty bad, but at least I got my money back because I walked out in the first 15 minutes. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes wasn't very good either.
Proving your point as a cinema man. I'll give that title to you now.
That's right.
Yes,
Apparently, I have to watch a Sean Connery movie called
Zardoz.
Zardoz.
Oh no, Zardoz is not bad. Zardoz is actually rather
Have you
interesting.
watched Steel?
Steel?
Yes.
What you're talking with Hugh Jackman?
No.
No, he's talking
with
about
Shaquille
the one based
O'Neal.
on...
Oh, that. Oh, no, it's not on my must-see
Have you seen
list.
Catwoman, Electra?
That's Catwoman's not good. Elektra's not good, but
the first 5 minutes of Electra are good.
Yeah,
but
that
they're
was
not
really good.
But the thing is, they're
minutes.
not offensive, right? They're not offensive.
Catwoman was
Could be.
offensive to
Catwoman
me.
was offensive.
Catwoman gets is about as low as a rating as I can give a
It's hard to
movie.
be offended when she's wearing that cat suit.
Oh, I don't know. That movie, as a
And it is Halle Berry.
Yeah,
fan,
yeah.
that movie offended me.
But
She was willing to wear that.
But I can't argue that. I could come down to that level and say, yeah,
Well,
it's an offensive movie.
and-
But there's
and-
bad movies and there's offensive movies, and to me, that's the point. And that comes back to this Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah. So with Fantastic Four, I mean, me and Brian talked about this, and my feeling when I walked out of the movie was this. There are movies that, like Brian said, offend me as a fan. Comic book movies that offend me as a fan. That would be like Amazing Spider-Man 2 or Iron Man 3, where they are not they're not poorly made movies. They are multi-million-dollar. They are professionally made. They look good. I just don't care for the choices they made in the movie, and that's why I don't like them. Then you have movies like Catwoman, which I feel look cheap.
Feel cheap.
and
aren't cheap in the dollar bins at the Best Buy.
Afterwards.
Right, and it offends me
You
as
need a
fan.
shower after you watch
So,
that movie.
so to me, you kind of have. I'm never gonna. I mean, I hate Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Iron Man 3, but I'm never gonna say they are bad. They are poorly made movies because they're not. They're still.
The quality of the film is not.
But there's some
bad.
horrible decision making.
There is. No, right. Fantastic Four falls into this nebulous gray area for me because it's not the Fantastic Four in any way, shape, or form. So I kind of divorce myself from hating it.
But aren't the characters' names Reed Richards? Storm.
Well,
Johnny
it's
Storm.
funny. Yes, that is their names. Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman are never said. Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Human Torch, and The Thing are never said in the movie.
Okay.
They are Human Torch and The Thing are kind of said at the end in kind of a joke. Also, Fantastic Four is never spoken in the movie.
I kind of assumed that.
The phrase Fantastic Four.
I could be wrong.
Don't they have that right at the end, though?
Right, they do,
Yeah.
but it's never said.
Oh, I get you.
I kind of assumed this movie to be pre-Fantastic Four, Fantastic Four.
Right. So while you have the bare elements of these characters, much like First Class. Now, I like First Class a whole lot, right?
Better.
But it's not the X-Men in any way, shape, or
Yes,
form.
it is.
That's not Professor X's backstory. It's Magneto's backstory filtered
I will fight you outside, Ryan
through the
Higgins.
movie. Professor X never had hair and had a drug problem and all this stuff.
That's the issue you're going to have with that movie.
None of those characters were the original X-Men.
Who cares?
But here's what I'm saying. But it's a good movie, so
Yes.
I don't care.
Okay.
Fantastic Four is that point where it's not the characters, so I kind of divorce myself from being offended by it because Iron Man 1 and 2 were good or really good, and so I had a build-up thing. Spider-Man, there's been good Spider-Man movies. Fantastic Four has always failed, so you don't even have a template to go back to.
The last two films set the bar low.
Yeah,
I have to say, though,
we never saw the
Roger Corman movie.
I actually have to say the Silver Surfer one was not as horrible either.
There's elements.
Fun.
There's elements in those two
That one was
that
fun.
I like.
I mean, it was coming from the I didn't like the first Jessica. Why do we always call it the Jessica Alba? The second one, I actually, even though I didn't expect much of it, I actually kind of enjoyed it.
No, there are
as a comic book movie.
There
like
are
a silly
elements of both of those that I like.
That's generally the one that's well liked by most people. I mean, it didn't make as much money as the first one, but critically, it's well received to some degree.
And I think it's also part of they didn't have to do the origin anymore. They can actually tell a story.
That movie doesn't offend me, but there's things in the movie, like Ryan was mentioning, that do offend me.
Jessica's blue eyes?
I'm okay with that. But one of the things that really bugged me was that this is not Galactus and the Silver Surfer.
No.
And the movie's made, in a sense, on the cheap in my mind, because it's a 90-minute movie, approximately. They didn't want to go 2 hours. I don't know what their thinking was, but I'm assuming they just didn't want to spend the money. And this is one of the greatest stories in Marvel Comics, the so-called Galactus trilogy. And boy, what a disservice. And so you watch this movie, and it's hard not to be disappointed if you're a Fantastic Four fan, which is why I disliked it.
Well, you don't think
but I come around to think they're both kind of comparable.
You don't think the cloud was actually just Galactus's fart that arrived on Earth sooner, and Galactus coming after?
Strangely, no.
So
Explains the movie, doesn't it? Though.
in a lot of ways, when it comes to the Cloud and Galactus in that movie, I agree was stupid, but I also kind of feel like you just plug it back into a computer and you could totally change that back to the original looking Galactus when they went into the cloud. And
I just kind of always assumed
kind of
Galactus was behind it. I mean, I know I joked about the farting thing right now, but I was kind of assumed the cloud was just something that comes before him. Yeah,
it was like the Independence Day when the ships came down. All you saw was the clouds first before the ships actually burst through.
I kind of feel like it's weird when you kind of feel like a movie. So if they just throw out that scene, just put it back with CGI this way, I would kind of be okay with it.
Well, there's still problems. No, it wouldn't fix the problem.
It wouldn't fix Doom. It wouldn't fix Reed. It wouldn't fix Sue.
But
the thing is, too, I don't want...
The thing about the Doom thing, and this is just one of those things where you get into they established Doom wrong in the first one.
Yes.
So going into
Correct.
the second one, they did make it better than he was in the first one, but they already started with a flaw. So I can't go into the second one going, they still fucked. No, they wrote themselves into a corner with Doom. So they kind of, I thought he was better in the second movie.
Agreed.
But I didn't expect him to suddenly do a whole 180 and be right
Doom,
because they set him up wrong.
Well, Doom and Punisher are the two characters that I do not understand how cinema keeps getting wrong. I feel like they're the two easiest characters to do. But for some reason, I don't get either of those two. Not yet.
Doom is one of my pet peeves, okay? Because Victor Von Doom, Dr. Doom, is probably the greatest or one of the greatest villains in comics history. This guy is the intellectual equal of Reed Richards. So if Reed Richards can build something, Dr. Doom can build something. If Reed Richards can amass an empire through technology, Dr. Doom can do it. But what's interesting about Dr. Doom is it's not just that he's great at technology. This guy is a master of the dark arts. He's a magician. He's into mysticism and mystical magic. And he can even give someone like Doctor Strange a run for his money. So he's the perfect amalgam of science and technology, which I find rather fascinating. He's damaged inside. He wears armor. What does that sound like? Yeah, this guy was Darth Vader before there was Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how do you screw up this character? One of my problems with the Marvel movies when they do these reboots is Doctor Doom, in my opinion, does not belong in the origin story. I'm fine if you have him at the end of a movie in a credit scene where you're setting up your next movie, but this character has such a great background that he needs a film. So the Fantastic Four are already established, so we don't need to see their background. We can just go into the film and see Doom's background, and then see the Fantastic Four have to contend with him.
He needs the Thanos treatment.
Well, yeah,
he needs the Dark Knight treatment, where the story. I mean, that was about Joker, or that was about Two-Face, really. But you kind of can give him the lion's share of the movie.
Well, yeah, and Charlie's right about the point about with Doom in the first movie, the 2005 version. He gets his powers right along with the Fantastic Four on a space station,
and again in the 2015 version.
And they do it again in the 2015 movie, and it's like. What, does anybody read comic books here? I mean, does anybody do research before you go into this? I mean, are the people writing the 2015 movie just going on the basis of the 2005 movie?
No, the director didn't want nobody reading the books at all.
Well, I think therein lies your problem because the movie's also kind of belongs, I guess, in the ultimate Fantastic Four universe to some degree.
Fine.
But again, that's kind of a failed universe. That wasn't a book that really took off.
Yeah, I was going to say, like.
But that had good stuff in that.
The first ultimate book that people started pointing to, that was horrible.
You know why?
Correct.
You know why? Because of Doom. They didn't get Doom right in that book.
Yeah, they didn't.
The book itself was actually fine up until the whole Doom storyline. I'm like, they lost me right there.
Which is funny because that reflects in the movies.
Yeah. So it was funny. Doom, though, as a kid growing up, he was one of my favorite supervillain, and it's because he made an excellent Fantastic Four villain. He made an excellent Spider-Man villain. He made an excellent Iron Man villain. I mean, when he was in the Iron Man books, man, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
The stuff they're going back, to back in the day to talk with the Witch and stuff like that. I thought that was fantastic storylines.
See, in a weird way, my favorite stuff about Doom has always been his ability to get in over his head, but it never seems like he's in over his head. Like when he stole the Surfer's powers and stuff. Like he just flat out messes with stuff that no mortal man should mess with.
Secret Wars, right? I mean,
and yet he always kind of almost manages it. Like it does not surprise me that he currently has the power of a god, because if anybody could maneuver his way into the power of a god, it's Doom.
Nice, yeah.
In a weird way, he kind of reminds me of Hannibal Lecter. There's a sequence in Manhunter, if people have seen that movie, where Lecter's now in prison, and of course Lecter is this brilliant, almost genius-like evil guy, and he's talking to Will Graham, and he's asking Will Graham, the person who put him in jail, it's like, how did you catch me? And Will Graham says, I had an advantage. And he asks, what's that? And he said, you're insane. And to me, that's Doom. He's a brilliant guy, but he has his flaw that just always he winds up losing. I mean, he's the intellectual equal of Reed Richards, but he always thinks he's superior to Reed Richards, and ultimately that's what kind of brings him down.
So coming back around to the 2015 movie.
Just call it FF15.
Yeah. When I was talking about First Class, there's a reason I bring that up. The first half an hour of Fantastic Four, I actually think is pretty good.
No.
And it reminds me a lot of First Class.
Okay.
It's not the Fantastic Four, much in the way First Class, to me...
But the First Class had the heart of the X-Men. I felt like it touched upon the stuff that made the X-Men special.
But it's not the story, right? It's such a different story.
First Class
I think the heart of it was, though.
First Class was the stuff before we get the X-Men. This is these people kind of...
this is what I thought this Fantastic Four should be.
Right. So you get young Ben and young Reed.
Yeah.
You know...
So are you saying that you actually like the half that the director was defending?
Well, maybe. So, well, here, we'll go on.
Go on. Sorry, Ryan.
Well,
Higgins.
no, because it gets weird. Okay. I've never seen a movie quite like this. So the first half, it feels like it works.
Okay.
It feels connected.
And that's actually the half I was really looking forward to.
Yeah. The characters have maybe for half an hour. So first third, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the first half.
No, yeah, first third. The characters have, I believe, connection to each other. I believe the situations. It's not the Fantastic Four, but it's okay, right? Doom being kind of the standout problem, that he's just this angry guy that's off to the side, and
he's emo Von Doom.
Yeah, there's no reasoning for. He's just like, I was doing a thing, and now I was fired because I'm a jackass. So
and he's angry and brooding.
Yeah, and there's no motivation at all. There's no backstory at all for anything. He's just this guy in a corner.
That makes me kind of sad, actually.
That's brought back.
Although he does seem to have a thing for Sue Storm, which they kind of
they kind of hint around that. So, and even up to the point where they get their powers, I'm still like, okay, it's not the Fantastic Four, but I'm with you. I'm with you to this point. Now we're at this point a half an hour into the movie, and there hasn't really been an action scene.
That's fine.
And then we get about 45 minutes into the movie. There's an action scene, quote unquote, with them getting their powers, but it's not fighting, right?
That's fine too.
It's fine, of course. Then
they stepped on the mall man, didn't know, so that actually just took out the entire race. No, I'm kidding.
So a very strange thing happens where they cut through their second act in a 1 year later, title card.
Really?
All this stuff happens. You kind of get the setup. They get their powers.
Okay.
And then it just says 1 year later.
All right.
Now you're
Would
giving
it have been better if it said intermission?
Well,
would it have been better? It was 5 years later
to go get nachos.
It wouldn't have mattered because you're given this setup that Doom is dead. Doom is on this planet that they're teleported to.
Was it Planet X?
Or, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
They're off.
Dimension X from Turtles.
Doom is dead.
Another dimension, but this planet they want to exploit for resources.
Right. So they got these suits on. They go over there. They all get thrown in some goop, some goop from the ground.
Oh, from the Ghostbusters?
Yeah, it's just like energy comes up from the ground, and they all
turtles. It was ooze, right?
And then the world starts kind of evaporating below them, so they have to run out. Doom falls in and
So the moment
dies.
could be the sequel, though. They're
could,
angry,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
they destroyed our planet, those
could.
motherfucking humans.
So the rest go back. They all get their powers. And I'm actually okay. Sue wasn't with them, but when they come back through like the portal, the energy like disperses, and she's trying to get them back.
I thought you go totally somewhere else with that. That they came back, Reed and Sue had a nice night out, and all of a sudden she got powers too.
So she gets kind of blasted with this explosion as it's coming through the portal. So
Okay.
that's how she gets her powers.
Okay.
So Reed wakes up and he's like, oh, fuck, I gotta get the hell out of here. And he takes off. And then it just says 1 year later.
Where does he take off to?
And actually, one of the more interesting scenes, they show him like disguising his face and morphing his face to other people to kind of like live on.
That's kind of cool.
But this is where the movie really just completely falls apart because
Okay.
they're given this setup, and then very quickly, a year later, for no reason that we can really
Reed has
tell-
white hair?
No. He's still like a kid.
Okay.
So
A 28-year-old kid.
Ben,
white
Sue,
hair.
and Johnny were working with the foundation, the Baxter Foundation,
Okay.
kind of working with the government to, and like Ben was going around like killing terrorists. At one point, it says like death. It says like kill count 43 or something.
Yeah, it
on
was
the
on
screen.
43, 53, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So none of this is ever explained.
Wait, Ben as Ben or Ben as the Thing?
As a
As
thing.
the thing,
as a
yeah.
thing.
Well, it's
Yeah.
explained in the sense that they say they'll help him if he helps them in their little terrorist missions.
Oh,
But it's so glossed over.
No, that's
Suicide
true.
Squad?
Yeah, well, kind of.
So,
but he's doing this all while he's butt naked, right?
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
excellent.
And actually, he was cool looking.
As butt naked man?
I thought he was fine. I thought
It
was fine.
didn't bother you? It bothers
No,
me to hell
didn't
that
bother
he's
me at
naked.
all.
He sees his butt cheeks and everything.
Didn't bother me at all.
Do you actually see the thing?
No.
Thing?
No, there is
thing?
no thing on the thing.
Thing's thing.
So you have this thing where they're all buddies, and then this accident happens. Reed leaves. They're kind of all spread out, and then Ben is sent to go get Reed. They find Reed. Ben goes to get him. You have, again, at this point, a setup for an actual fight scene, and it never happens.
Okay.
Ben knocks him out in a second, and there's never
Ben
actually
knocks
a fight.
the Thing out? Oh, wait.
Reed out.
Ben, yeah, okay.
No, he doesn't
No,
knock
yeah,
himself out,
sorry.
Toby.
No, I thought you were saying Reed knocked
No,
Ben
yeah,
out.
he
Oh,
knocks
well.
Reed out. And at this point,
Martha
again,
Stewart.
Yeah.
we're an hour into the movie, and there's been almost no action scenes and no fight scenes.
I don't care about that. Okay.
But you have to understand, this is why I think the movie starts to fall apart, because the studio cared.
Okay.
So they're all brought back in so you have this whole setup where, Reed's gone, everything's a mess.
That
Now-
actually still sounds interesting, but okay.
But they're all brought back.
But it isn't.
Within 5 minutes.
too bad.
Within 5 minutes to each other, you solve the problem, and now they're all just back together again. And it's like, what was the purpose of separating them?
Oh, if you're going to bring them back together, yeah.
Immediately bring them back together.
Okay,
You have a
fine.
1 year flash forward, but
Yeah.
it doesn't. There's no explanation given of why anything is really going on.
Now was Reed going off because he was wanted to save his friends and he was working on his own, or
That's about right. Yeah, he was kind of trying to keep on the run away from the government while he's
Okay.
trying to solve the problem.
But again, it's very.
But again, how does he solve this problem?
When
I mean,
he's
not
where's he
in
getting
touch
his
with his
money?
friends, yeah.
It's not really explained.
Yeah,
but that's kind of an interesting concept. You think that he tries to do this on his own and
Well,
they kind of split up and
Toby, there's a lot of interesting concepts here, but none of them are fully realized. In fact, they're not even realized
I might be
at all.
better off watching this movie without the sound, and I make my own.
You'd be better
storylines
off
out, yeah.
watching Roger Corman's Fantastic Four.
I have seen it.
Yeah,
So-
that's a better one.
This is where, from everything we've heard, the studio was like, "Holy shit, we're an hour in and there hasn't been an action scene." And
Okay.
this is where everything gets rewritten, from what I understand, including
Okay.
Drew Goddard being brought in to do rewrites on it. Who did
Daredevil Man.
Huh? Yeah, and he's one of Joss Whedon's
Yeah,
guys.
Angel Man
And so
and Sinister Six Man.
they send another portal over, and
And Doom comes back.
Doom is on the planet, right? So they send another group over.
And remember, he's been there for a year.
Right, and at this point, you also have to also remember this: that they're all wearing like environmental suits.
This
during all
reminds
this,
me
right?
of Ben Grimm staying on this planet by himself.
Yeah. So Doom's there,
Yeah.
and he's just like, "Fuck it, I'm going to destroy the world." And
The one that he lives on?
yeah,
Okay.
so he's on like Planet X, and he's like, I somehow have gained mastery over this planet." So again, nothing. His powers are very indeterminate.
Wasn't he trying to? And this is
Undefined.
maybe where I missed something here. Wasn't he trying to destroy our planet? And it
Right,
was-
Earth. Right.
Yeah.
He's trying to. So
Yeah, because he wants to remake his world. He said our
Right.
world is a failure, and he's going to destroy it. And then
and you never
remake.
get any sort of
Again?
inkling.
Correct.
He was mad because like he got
He had
fired.
a year to stew. Yeah.
He got fired from his job, and a year later he's like, I have the power of a god, and I'm going to destroy the world.
because to fire me.
It's a
wait.
weird.
He's like, instead of getting pussy, he's like, I'm gonna go destroy the world.
Did he work at the post office?
yeah.
Oh, that was low.
So this is where they're like, quick, we need a half an hour fight scene. So you get elements of the Fantastic Four kind of learning their powers and everything in this big fight against Doom. And if there's a complaint about the Green Lantern movie, it's that the first thing Hal Jordan fights is fucking Parallax. He's about to destroy the universe, right? Like, you could start a little lower and build up to it, right? So this was... Doom is sucking the Earth through a temporal portal to this other planet, and the stuff comes through and makes energy, which powers the planet, which powers him. And... And when the Fantastic Four come through, they have no suits, they're just fighting.
They're naked?
They have their suits, but not like this planet now has air, I guess. Like
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
and there's no like damn Doom, that escalated quickly, right? This comes out of nowhere.
So you feel like the Studio forced a action beat?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
And you could tell there's a lot of long shots where it's probably not them acting in there, and lots of lots of special effects shots, and yeah, there's now you're just a 20-minute fight scene with Dr. Doom.
Yeah, that goes by pretty quickly.
Yeah, but it's it goes one way, then it goes way the other way with very little.
And it's not even an interesting fight scene or action sequence. It's very pedestrian.
They're learning their powers as they're fighting Dr. Doom as he's destroying the Earth.
And learning that it takes a team
Yeah.
to beat one evil villain.
Yeah, so whatever happened in that first half an hour felt cohesive. It may not have been the Fantastic Four, but it felt like it worked. We now have people
So the
complaining.
Fantastic Four was going to be an all right movie.
Maybe, yeah.
Well,
Possibly.
I disagree with Ryan somewhat.
Okay.
The thing is, he's right. When I walked out of that movie, I didn't think it was a bad movie.
Okay.
Where I was offended by it.
Okay.
Coming back to our descriptions earlier, it was a poorly done movie.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
I agree.
Yeah, it's just poorly done.
Yeah.
They take liberties with the characters, which I really don't like. I understand.
Okay.
And the thing is, I guess you can look at this movie in two ways. It fails in two ways. Mm-hmm. One is the characters. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really do justice to the characters. We see some backstory, but you have a great backstory already there for you. The fact that Ben Grimm was a college roommate of Reed Richards, not some kid that he knew in grade school. Not to mention, Reed Richards is a brilliant man, so he would have been a prodigy as a child. Why is he in a regular grade school class with other regular
Because
kids?
they grew up poor, man.
Well,
He sucked the power from the neighborhood to generate it.
I mean, I know these are little nitpicks, but the thing is I'm okay with changes. Like Ryan was talking about X-Men First Class. You can make some changes. Okay, that's fine. If you want to update it, they change the dynamic of the group. They change the racial background of the group. Sue Storm is from Kosovo because she's adopted. I'm not sure why that's in there or what that has to do with anything. But
they
maybe
mention it, and then it's never...
Right. So maybe there's something there in the Trask director's cut, I guess. But where the movie really fails, and I think ultimately this is why it's not going to do well, is if you go to a summer movie, especially a movie of this type of nature, a superhero movie, you want to have action, you want to have comedy, you want to see good characters, and usually when you walk out, like I think most of us when we walked out of Guardians of the Galaxy,
You're happy.
You're happy. In fact, the movie's kind of charming.
Yeah.
That's the thing I would say. Most of the Fantastic Four movies, well, all of the Fantastic Four movies really are not really charming, and this one is really not charming. This one doesn't really have much in the way of action. There's not really much in the way of comedy. The banter that you'd expect between Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm's not there. It's a very dour, solemn, kind of depressing movie.
Does Johnny and Ben ever have a conversation
That's
with
sad.
each other?
Not
That's
really.
like classic
You get kind
Fantastic
of one
Four.
comment at the end, right, where Reed says yeah, you can take him.
But that,
Right.
they
But that's
never
it.
even talk to each other.
So
That's
so
too
is
bad. That's part of the
Yeah.
core, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I liked coming back to why I got into comics and why Fantastic Four was my favorite comic was that here you had four people who were like a family who squabbled, who got along
Charlie's
at
point
times.
last week, yeah.
And also too they didn't have secret identities. I mean, they were like anybody else. They were out there. They were exposed, and you have a a kind of a charm, as I mentioned, to this family. You don't really get this in this movie at all. I mean, it lacks action, it lacks comedy, it lacks charm. So why go see this movie? Because it's like you're not going to get any of
To have
this.
my own opinion, really.
Well, yes, of course, but that's why you don't pay for it. But
Now, what's the workaround?
I like your workaround, actually.
Oh, well, the workaround is I paid to see Vacation, and then I just went.
But
into the
you
theater.
decided to support that movie, so why didn't you support another movie?
Oh, that was fine. It was around the same time.
Like you should have supported Straight Outta Compton because it really needs the extra $8 that you
Well, if
could
it was
have given
playing
to.
within 10 minutes of this movie, I would have gotten it straight out of Compton.
Oh, I
but
see your analogy. Okay.
Yes, but
So
it
had
wasn't
to be
playing 10
close.
minutes. Yes,
Okay.
there you go.
Yeah.
The other way to do it is not that I advocate this, but you pay for one movie, you go see it, and then you pop into the theater. Obviously, the theater is going to be deserted, so you should have plenty of room to move around. But coming back to a point I made earlier, one of the reasons why I'm so adamantly against this movie, and I'm so against Fox owning the rights to this movie or the Fantastic Four franchise that I don't even care if they make a great movie. I will not pay to see it because ultimately these rights have to go back to Marvel.
Yeah, I would
Can
love
you
to see
imagine
that.
what the Marvel universe would be like if they had
They'd
Doctor
have to.
Doom and the
Oh my
Silver
God.
Surfer and Galactus? It would
well,
be and Fox has had 3 tries at this, 3 tries, and they haven't got it right.
Yeah.
And to me, that's one of those things is Doctor Doom, I agree, could be a great villain for not just Fantastic Four movies
Absolutely.
and all that. But
Yeah.
to me, if you're going to tell a story with Galactus, you need
The entire
all
Marvel
the
universe.
heroes being ineffectual.
Now,
against
absolutely.
I
Galactus.
brought this up last week. Wouldn't it be so cool if Galactus was Phase 4 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing: you're never going to see it because right now you have fans circulating a petition for Fox to give the rights back. Fox doesn't care about
yeah.
a petition. The only thing these jokers care about is money,
money.
the bottom line.
Yeah.
So if they make, and right now they seem to be digging into the dirt. They seem to be drawing the line in the sand. They're saying, hey, we're probably going to make a movie in 2017 and
with-
Fantastic Four
yeah.
a sequel.
It got a bit of a bump because it opened in some more international audiences. I mean, so it broke 100 million, which again is awful.
did?
But
Yes,
it's
currently
awful.
it's at $102 million.
Yeah. Which is still
worldwide. Worldwide.
which is awful.
That's
Which is awful.
worldwide.
Worldwide.
But still,
And
It's at
that
41 million domestically.
And that does not technically mean that that's the amount of money that went back to the studio. That's
Right.
the amount
Right,
of money.
and the
it
key
made.
factor here is the opening weekend. And this is where I can bring out my my cheat
Charts.
sheets. But if you look at the opening weekend for Fantastic Four 2005, it was $56 million. For Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, it was $58 million. And for this movie, this latest one, 2015, it's $25 million, and they were projecting 40 to 50 million. So if you can't get people into that first opening weekend,
Yeah.
you're good.
25.
It's 25 million. Yeah. And these numbers were taken yesterday, so it's probably changed a little bit. But if you can't get people in to see your movie the first weekend, then you're in trouble.
yeah.
Well, if they're lowballing it at that amount now, I mean, whew.
Well, yeah, no, I mean it is still a failure, but it's.
I'm surprised it got to 100. Though, man.
Yeah,
Damn.
it broke that 100 million milestone, which maybe is giving them some thought of.
Well, the budget's 120 million, so it needs to do 2-3 times that.
Yeah. But what I mean is, had this been like just an abject failure, then maybe at 100 million, I could still see someone being like, "Well, we'll make it up long term." Like,
Not really,
you know.
because I have not got my second 18 movie yet, man.
Well, that's the thing,
I
though.
was going to say, there's some movies can reach around this point within sort of like movie theaters and stuff.
Yeah. But no, it's dead.
That
I
also
mean-
means that Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a good example of a movie that came out in theaters, did okay in theaters, didn't do great in theaters, but they can't give away the Blu-ray and stuff.
No,
like they're
no.
always trying.
I bought
to
it.
offload
I bought it, and in fact, I want to do the cut that I watched in the theaters because I just unimagined Mr. Jamie Foxx in the movie, and it worked for me. So I'm totally going to do that version myself.
Well, I got there's a couple ways that I look at the Fantastic Four movie. With Spider-Man and X-Men, they've existed in their own universes in the comics for a long time. If you take Spider-Man or the X-Men out of the Marvel universe, I feel like it's okay.
Yeah, I mean Spider-Man too. I mean, since they have a deal with Marvel to use
Yeah.
Spider-Man, kind of probably in the same way they've used the Hulk, which is more as a supporting character.
I mean,
or
even
cameos.
in the comics, right? Spider-Man has always kind of had his own universe within the Marvel universe. He interacts constantly, clearly,
Yeah.
but X-Men, especially the X-Men, they really do their
They
own
can
thing.
really stand on their own.
Fantastic Four, though, and I believe we talked about this last week. Fantastic Four, I can't see outside the Marvel universe.
Yeah, they have to get those rights back.
So subjectively, this movie is an F for me because it's not done by Marvel.
Besides being FF.
There you go.
Very good.
Because it's not done by Marvel. It's not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Objectively, it's like a C- or a D. I mean, it's a poorly made movie, but I didn't walk out.
It's a 1.5 star movie on a scale of 4 stars. You'd asked me when we walked out, and I had to pause for a moment because you said, "Well, Brian, how do you think this rates with the Green Lantern movie?"
Which I know you don't. And this is something I appreciate very much of Brian. Brian doesn't subscribe to the internet's model of it's a 1 or a 10. It's the best thing ever or it's the worst thing ever. Brian has layers. He's nuanced, right?
I'm just getting hit over and over in this podcast today.
I'm not saying this to you.
But to me, the Green Lantern was a perfect 2-star movie. It wasn't great. It just wasn't bad. It was just an average movie. And so when I walked out of the Fantastic Four with Ryan, my first reaction was to say, I guess Fantastic Four is a 2-star movie. It just doesn't really do anything. It's not offensive, as I mentioned. But then I started thinking about it, and it's like, no, wait a minute, Green Lantern actually is the better movie. It's a better movie because you have a stronger villain in Mark Strong with Sinestro. You have action, and you get the feeling that there's a little bit of joy in the movie. At least they're trying to make a superhero movie and do something with it.
Coherent, for the most part.
I mean, I keep coming back to this Fantastic Four movie. I don't know what Joss Trank's. I think I called him Trask earlier, but Trank. I don't know what his. I don't know what his game is for this movie. I mean, it's just if there's this longer version, I guess I'd be interested in seeing it. But I mean, what I'm seeing in the theater is just something that's just very solemn and dour and not fun. Well, it's just not fun.
I think there's a 2-hour movie somewhere in the dreaming where there's no fight scenes and there's no action, and it's a character piece.
Which is kind of how he pitched it, though. I mean,
it's pretty much a science project for about 2/3 of the movie.
So I got a question for you guys. Does this feel like stuff that we've experienced with editorial from Marvel and DC, where there's this creative thing that's going on, and you're kind of like, okay, I'm moving along with it, or it's really good, and so on and so forth, and then editorial comes in and
I didn't say it's really good.
Marvel controls it from the beginning, though.
No. I'm saying like
they don't even get off ground.
Yeah.
They already control it.
Well, no. I think he's talking about the comics.
No,
but
with comics, like because DC a couple years ago had that huge.
And the mess with okay,
So,
all right, move on.
I mean, did you get that feeling that the studio was kind of?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, okay.
So
they had to,
right?
In their mind,
right?
But where does the studio interference begin and Trank's movie end?
I think the halfway point. I think it's after that 1 year later jump,
which is too bad because I would have either liked to seen just the studio version or just the Trank version, not something in between.
Yeah,
I mean, that's probably why it made it worse. Even
Trank famously tweeted out, "A year ago, I had a fantastic version of this, and it would have received great reviews." I find that interesting. You'll probably never see it. That's reality, though. And then, of course, he removed the tweet. But.
Yeah, Doom.
So obviously, there's something going on.
The back half, Doom has like psychic powers, and he's blowing up people's heads like scanners, and it's
what?
It's pretty graphic. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's just like, and people's heads explode. So the back half definitely feels way different from the first half, and I have to assume that's the studio going, holy shit, we can't film this movie.
Why didn't it just scrap it and start over?
Because then they lose the rights.
You have the science project part, right? Because they say this build. It's like, in fact, the movie almost starts out a little bit like Tomorrowland because you have these young kids.
Very much so.
One's kind of a
brilliant. It has some of the same problems too.
Yeah, and definitely. And so they're building this interdimensional device, which is to be able to take them to this planet that they can exploit for resources. But they spend a good chunk on them building the device while they're telling a little bit of a backstory. So I would say it's about 2/3 of the movie. So I think Ryan is correct. At that point, you get this ending, which does seem like it was tacked on or something totally different. And so my curiosity is such, well, then what is Trank's vision? What was he going to do? Was he not going to have a big action sequence?
No, I mean, he did always say that his Fantastic Four it's kind of the unfantastic Four.
Well, that's great if you can do something interesting. So if we judge him on 2/3 of this movie, it's not interesting.
Okay. Which is my point of view of Chronicle. Sorry, Ryan.
Well, again, why did this guy get to direct this movie? He has one movie, Chronicle. It's not a bad movie, but as I think you said earlier, Toby, before the podcast, it's like, well, he was the up-and-coming
new guy.
Commodity.
Yeah, he was a.
It got people talking.
But you have 3 tries. This is your third try. And you got to get this right. So wouldn't you want more of a steady hand, someone who's got a track record, somebody who can bring something to the table, not gamble on this movie? Because basically you get a director of this of Chronicle, a one-time movie, and you are basically gambling. It could pay off.
Jurassic World.
It could pay off. But
did Landis write or co-write this movie too, or no?
Max Landis?
Yeah.
No, he wrote some script a while ago apparently, but nothing got
But
used.
not okay because he did co-write Chronicle, right? Or no?
Did he?
I thought he co-wrote. I could
Maybe.
be wrong, but I thought he co-wrote. And then it seems like both of these guys are yelling up and down, "We're going to make the best superhero movie ever," and this is what they came out with.
The writers on this movie are Simon Kinberg, Jeremy Slater, and Josh Trank.
Excellent, Mr. Prepared Cinema Man. Thank you.
I come prepared. But yeah, those. Again, it's like even if Trank says, "Hey, I had this great movie," it's like, well, I saw 2/3 of your movie, and I'm not that excited about it.
Look at Ant-Man. Ant-Man had that huge director thing at the beginning of it, but Marvel.
But it didn't feel like it, though. Ant-Man felt like an Ant-Man movie.
But that's because Marvel came in and did their Marvel Studios came in and worked the magic with it and leveled the
before they started filming, though. That's the
before
thing.
they started filming.
Ryan,
it sounds like they were halfway through this movie, and we're like, "Oh shit!"
Ryan and I had this discussion in the past where old school movies they have the auteur method, the idea that the director runs the show, the director creates what you see on screen with a lot of help, of course, but it's a director's movie. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is, in a way, not really made by directors; it's made by a committee, but it works. And it works pretty well.
Well, the director is normally attached to give that kind of viewpoint, right? Like Joss Whedon is on this. Yeah, he's on it. But
But it's still a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie.
He's a cog in the wheel, but we're just tacking his name on it because that's big.
With the Marvel...
No, you got to give the director. It's a lot harder job than you think it is. It's not just tacking his name on it.
The director's job in this kind of case is to bring the quote-unquote Marvel Cinematic Vision to life.
And I want to say doing a Marvel movie is probably one of the harder things to do.
In other words, Marvel's not going to hire a Stanley Kubrick to make a Marvel movie.
No.
They're not going to hire a James Cameron to make a Marvel movie.
But that's what and I've said this multiple times now. Joss Whedon left very unhappy because he was getting raked over the coals by Marvel because his ability to direct was being hampered
he's not
greatly.
The only one.
Right, Edgar Wright left because when Edgar Wright makes a movie, it's Edgar Wright's movie.
Yeah, and then Kenneth Branagh also didn't want to do the sequel because of that.
And Thor, what's his face on Thor as well? I'm pretty sure he was starting to get. Sorry, not Thor. Iron Man. What's his face?
Favreau.
Favreau left.
Favreau
So it says at the end of Age of Ultron, written and directed by Joss Whedon. That is, he maybe get the credit, but he did not write and direct this movie.
Yeah, but he got all the headaches, though. I promise he does.
There's 100 writers involved with this, and he's getting notes on everything he does. These movies are.
And I don't mean to diminish the director because they do have a job to do, and they do it well. But ultimately, if you can say that these movies are being made by committee. I'm okay with it because the committee's pretty good and the track record is very good.
And Star Wars is going to be very similar. You have this.
I would agree.
This gentleman had a Star Wars project, and because I think with this movie he doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
They say he quit off of it, but there's more to the story.
Yeah, that's he left for quote unspecified reasons.
Well, we talked about it last week, and more stuff came up during the week of him getting in near fist fights with the actor that played Reed Richards.
Yeah, Miles Teller. He wanted Teller, and 20th Century Fox did not, so he fought to get him into the movie. He gets him in the movie, but the rumor is that they had a lot of problems and almost came to blows. Apparently, he didn't want Kate Mara in the movie.
Yeah.
But 20th Century Fox wanted her.
Yeah.
So she's in the movie. He doesn't really like her, and the rumor is that he was giving her the cold shoulder. And
I really wish there was a really good documentary on this. This would be actually a lot of fun to watch, probably.
Well, it's, obviously...
Or interesting. Maybe not fun, but
Fantastic Four 2015, The Untold Story.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're just going by, what rumors are.
On the internet.
And you'll probably see a lot more as this movie continues to tank.
Yeah.
There are going to be a lot of rats leaving the ship who are going to have stories to tell.
Clearly, this guy was not ready for this and had some severe problems on the set, which is you don't usually hear about it unless it's really bad. Yeah. And the fact that all this stuff is coming out, it's like, oof, this must have been rough.
I just feel it's too bad it had to happen to a Fantastic Four movie.
In the end, who loses out the most?
The fans?
We do, right?
Yeah.
The audience.
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what comes back to my point about if you're a Fantastic Four fan, you have to ask yourself the question: do you want Fox to continue to have the rights to this movie? I mean, most fans
Personally, I don't even want them to have the X-Men anymore.
Yeah. Well, most fans would probably say, hey, I just want a good movie. If I get a good movie, I'm happy. But I'm one of those fans, like, I don't care if you make a great movie. I want the rights to go back to Marvel. So that's why I really believe that if they make a movie in 2017, and I think if you're a Fantastic Four fan, you don't pay to see it. You want to see it, but don't pay to see it. Pay to see something else and go in and watch it.
I do want to say, we're saying a lot of negative stuff, but I do want to counter, is this movie a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Well, it's now at 8%. It lost a percentage point.
That puts it down as that's Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 territory. Like I didn't hate this movie when I walked out of it. Maybe because my expectations were so low.
I didn't hate it either. I just was vastly disappointed. And there's the big difference between hating something and being disappointed.
Which was my point to begin with.
Yeah.
Since last week, since forever that, I think this movie is getting a lot of the fanboy hate because they want it to be bad.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is I'm a fanboy of this particular comic.
But you are a cinema man who can understand and
I didn't want the movie to be successful. I mean, I've never wanted.
But you're respectful about your opinion.
Well, but I mean,
it's fought out, right?
The thing is
you can tell he doesn't post on the internet. So.
Yes.
Oh no. He probably posted like this. Everybody, the fanboys, like, I hate this movie. It's the biggest bullshit ever. Then comes Brian's. Well, let me explain you. First, let me tell you some history, and then let me tell you about the characters, and then let me.
Like Ryan says, if you read the internet, it's always hate it or love it. It's hard. It's the people. I'm a Fantastic Four fan. I'm disappointed in this movie, but if I came out and said I hated it, it would be a lie because it's not a terrible movie. It's just not good. It's just a poorly done movie. And as I mentioned, ultimately it fails on the fact that it's not entertaining. And if you're making movies for most people who are not fans, then you have to be entertaining. Absolutely. But if you are a fan, then you have to ask yourself, do I want the rights to go back to Marvel? And out of all the projects that are, or I should say the franchises that are owned, that are not owned by Marvel, this is the one that has to go back. So as fans, you have to say, hey, going forward, let's not pay to see a Fantastic Four movie. Now, like I said, I don't know if it's pride, I don't know if it's anger, but Marvel's playing hardball with Fox, and Fox seems to be playing hardball with Marvel. Marvel canceled the Fantastic Four title, as we know. They're not pushing any merchandise, so it's almost like they're saying, "Hey, you keep making movies, and especially if you keep making bad movies, then are you going to wake up one day and go like, X-Men? That's a $3 billion franchise for us. We have 7 movies, 2 Wolverine movies if you count those, and we've made $3 billion. Do we want the headache of Fantastic Four?" And they're going to look at the bottom line. The bottom line is money. If it's not making money, then they're not going to want to keep it.
The bottom line is they probably could collect the money that they made on that weekend from Marvel alone.
What do you mean by that?
Like, the little money they made, Marvel probably would have written them checks just to get the rights back.
Well, I don't know. I'm of the impression that where Marvel seems to be working with Sony with Spider-Man, I get the impression that Marvel does not want to work with
the talk is Marvel is
I'm
saying
them buying it back.
But I don't think they want to. I don't think they want to work or buy back the rights.
Yeah,
I think they want to get them back they expire.
The talk is, we will not pay you a penny. The X-Men, maybe, but FF, no. You give that back. The talk is they won't pay a dime.
Because I think that's the understanding, like with the character of the Hulk. I believe Marvel owns the character, the Hulk, but Universal owns the rights to distribute the Hulk.
Yeah.
So if Marvel makes a Hulk movie, which is exclusively about the Hulk, like say Planet Hulk, which a lot of fans would like to see.
Yeah, be Universal distribution.
And then I'm thinking Marvel...
There'd be another $1 billion movie for him.
Yeah.
It probably would be, but I think Marvel doesn't want to cut anybody in on the action, so the Hulk will probably appear as
Disney.
I mean,
well, yes, true. Yeah.
And I'm not disputing the fact that that doesn't go into it, but the Hulk movies also haven't been the...
Well, Planet Hulk would be awesome. Let's face it. If you do Planet Hulk, that's a great
amazing.
concept.
But at this point, they're kind of looking at, okay, with Captain America, we did this amount. With Thor, we did this amount. We've never really got that kind of success with the Hulk movie, and we'd have to cut in the studio. Like if Hulk movies made $1 billion, they'd be making Hulk movies, even though they have to cut in Universal on.
Yeah, but think of it. The Planet Hulk followed by World War Hulk. I mean, those are 2 great concepts, which could translate very well into money-making movie machines.
I'm a big fan of those story arcs and everything. And we're kind of in this weird gray, well, not really gray area, but a weird area right now where a lot of these storylines and concepts have already made their way into like animated form and that kind of stuff. And I don't like growing up, it was kind of a novelty when I saw something that was a comic book make its way onto like Batman the Animated Series, when they adapt one, like a comic book directly pretty much into that. I was always kind of blown away, and those are always like my favorite episodes. Nowadays, it's like they had the direct-to-video Planet Hulk movie, like the animated one. They've also like adapted that to like the Hulk Agents of Smash show. I saw like an ad for that one.
Yeah, I've seen that show.
And it seems like there's this proliferation of like, when you have a good story, we will get it out there in some way.
Yeah, but who's seeing it? I mean, the thing is, the animated movie is not going to make you $1.2 billion.
No.
If you do a successful superhero movie, you can make over $1 billion. And even though the story exists, we know the story exists in comic form, we know the story exists in animated form, most people have not seen this story or know about this story. And many of the fans who go to movies like this, they're not comic fans.
And I totally agree with you that they could make a very successful Planet Hulk movie. I just think at this point in time, it's in a very weird way easier for them to start up something like Ant-Man with a smaller budget that hasn't had a try at the movies than try and go to bat for a third time with the Hulk.
Yeah, I agree with you
right
on
now.
that.
Yeah,
But the Marvel Studios 2015 is a very different Marvel Studios than 2008.
Yeah.
They've learned a lot.
The fact of the matter is after Avengers, everything basically doubled.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the amount of money that Cap 1 made versus Cap 2, or Thor 1 versus Thor 2, or even like Iron Man 2 versus Iron Man 3. Like, once Avengers hit, the landscape drastically changed.
Yeah.
Just
Expectation
in terms of-
also
Was
went big.
Iron Man 3, did that make the most money in the franchise?
Second below Avengers.
Second one? No, but I mean, excuse me, of the three
yeah.
Iron Man
Oh, yeah.
movies. Yeah, and to me, that's not the best one.
No.
No.
But
But it is one of those things where you could definitely make an argument.
Well-
however much money the last Hulk movie made, you're going to at least double it.
Iron
right now
Man
within
Iron Man
the
3 too,
studio.
that was their first big foray into the Chinese market.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Where they made a shit ton. They made like $400 million in China, which is
And that's what's kind of
huge.
funny in a way, because it's or ironic,
Or
I
more.
guess, is like you make a movie that's not as good as the other two, but you make more money than the two. So the message is, oh, I guess we're doing something right.
But then they stopped. I mean, they're
Well-
not doing any more Iron Man movies. So
Well, that's true.
But as we've already talked about, a lot of this comes down to how well the movie does in its opening weekend.
Yeah, that's very important. More so
Meaning,
than most
To
back in
me,
the day.
it's always more curious to see how the next movie will do after the one that wasn't as well received. Because you look at this and it's like, Iron Man 1 people love, therefore people are willing to go that opening weekend for Iron Man 2. And then you had Avengers, and then you had Iron Man 3. It's got this huge sort of momentum behind all the previous films.
every Transformers opening weekend is bigger than the last, despite everyone saying they hate them.
So
Hey,
it's always
Not a
that,
conversation.
it's always that sort of funny thing is you can have huge box office movies that are not well received
You can have 4 of them.
because the way it works out is
Talking about Transformers
that,
again.
that money is going to
Transformers.
come in regardless of it's good or bad. It's more of a question of will the sequel bring in money.
All right.
Well, that's true, but I mean, ultimately, I think these people are always, when you make a superhero movie or a big special effects movie, I would assume you probably want to make somewhere between, 600 million, 700 million to $1 billion or more dollars, right?
3 to 4 times operating budget tends to be good number because you got to put in
I mean,
advertising and everything.
That's true, but also...
So 6 to 8 million, or 600 to 800 million is probably
Yes.
what they're aiming for.
But with these types of movies, too, you have to build in the fact that if you're going to make a sequel, it's probably going to cost you more than the
Yeah.
first movie did. And if you're going to make a third one, it's going to probably cost you more. So they have to look at it and say, can we keep making this kind of money on a sequel?
Yeah.
Is it worth investing into
These
this?
movies are a completely different animal compared to most movies.
Very true,
Just
yeah,
because
very
of
true.
the amount of merchandising around them.
Which I would assume
Yeah.
gets counted in.
Not
in box office. No.
But I mean, as far as if they want to make, no,
for-
if it does great DVD sales, for example, that might color their thinking on making
all that goes into if they're going to make more. I'm just saying that if you want to say Iron Man 3 made over $1 billion, that's not counting the millions they made off the toys.
Cars is always used as the barometer of, well, Cars 1 made a lot of money. Cars 2 did okay, and there's going to be a Cars 3, and people are like, but no one likes Cars because the licensing, the toys, the figures, the merchandising sold billions of dollars. The movie doesn't matter.
It's the old Filmation way of He-Man being toy commercials.
How did they justify Joe Dirt 2?
That's different.
That's Dirt.
Wasn't that Kickstarter?
That's them doing $1 million movie and getting $2 million out of it.
Yeah.
No, I want to add though.
We're going to wrap up after this.
Yeah.
So last thoughts, everyone. Last thoughts.
I feel it's too bad that if Marvel doesn't want to shell out to get the Fantastic Four back, because I think it'd be a perfect fit. The Disney family, the Marvel family, the whole family thing they want to push. I mean, the Fantastic Four should actually be one of their big prizes that they could have. So,
well, yeah. My last thought is I don't know if they don't want to shell out for it, but it seems like they're going to play hardball and they don't want to shell out for it. So
it's
my
too bad, because I think it would fit right in, and I think it could be a really good thing for them.
They don't have to play hardball, or they can play hardball because it's not a $3 billion franchise. Spider-Man and X-Men.
Correct, absolutely. So my final thought is, if you like the Fantastic Four, don't pay for any more movies by Fox.
I will do your method of giving more money to Compton.
Yes.
And then I will go
straight out of Compton and just go straight into Fantastic Four.
Yeah, so I'll go watch a horrible movie instead of a really good movie. But I'll give the good movie the money.
I think the best part about all of this whole pay for this movie and go see this other movie is the people of the theater who work there are like, man, it sucks. Just fucking go. I don't care. They don't even care.
No, I think I do not blame Disney for not trying to negotiate the rights back for some amount of money, primarily because if they're losing money making the movies, not to mention at the point where those rights were sold, it probably did not cost Fox very much money at all.
Yeah, I don't know, but I bet you're absolutely correct.
And here's the funny thing: if Marvel and Disney got the rights back, it would be like raining from heaven. Fantastic Four merchandise. They would merchandise the hell out of them. The comics would be launched.
The book is back, baby. The book is back.
The posters at Toys R Us would actually have Fantastic Four.
They would
characters
drop every movie they're working on the start of Fantastic Four movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you know what makes me very sad?
What's that?
The cancellation of Doctor Who?
Charlie just going to break down here.
What? Was that a faux pas?
You just started a whole 2-hour podcast.
So one of the things I always really, really like around these movies is new hardcovers, re-releasing of trades, all sorts of stuff available here in the shop, not in terms of toys, but just in terms of...
Yeah.
There's
Source
no
material.
better time to get classic Iron Man collections than when a new Iron Man movie's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder how many Fantastic Four graphic novels we'll see.
Are there any in print right now? Maybe the last...
The current stuff.
Yeah, but that's it.
And like the Hickman Omnibus, maybe is that even in print still?
Yeah,
well, they're doing those epic collection.
Yeah, but they're doing that for everything.
Yeah, they're doing that for everything.
They have the Marvel Masterworks, and usually in that line, Spider-Man and Fantastic Four and Avengers probably lead the way with most volumes. But you make a good point. Interesting going forward, if they continue the Masterworks line, are they going to be making more Marvel Fantastic Four Masterworks?
Yeah, it's weird.
All right. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you, Brian.
I enjoyed being here.
That's fine. We got plenty of time.
That's okay. Thank all the Patreon people.
Too much time. Yes, we are going to thank Patreon people, including our good friend Albert Soy. Don't forget Plant Everywhere.
Albert, are you ready to open some packs?
Oh, yeah, he's ready. While he's opening packs, though, he should also be using the iOS app called Plant Everywhere. You should check that out. It's a photo sharing app.
As soon as it gets to Android, I promise I will check it out.
Me too. Jody Lawson. They've got Canon, the Triad Comics Anthology at triadcomicstudios.com. Go give those guys a read and pick up some of their books. And don't forget Julian Titus's podcast, Pixel Bit.
I love that name.
The Nerds Without Pants podcast, I'm sorry, at pixelbit.com, P-A-X-L-B-I-T.
I love both those names. I love all the names.
Keep it pantsless, Brian.
Are you gonna do a show devoted to pixels? By the way, speaking of pixels.
Oh, geez. That'd be a Geekbox episode, right?
All right.
Yeah, I'll pay to see a Fantastic Four movie. I'm not going to pay to see
Right, that's where the line is.
He has standards.
I have a really, really important question about the Fantastic Four movie.
Okay.
Was Herbie in the movie?
No.
Not that I saw.
Oh, and that reminds me, Stan Lee's not in this movie.
Yeah.
All right? Stan Lee's been in just about every Marvel movie.
how you know.
One way or the other. So why is Stan Lee not in this movie?
Even he knew it was a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, did somebody tell him not to be in the movie? Did he decide not to? I'm kind of curious on that. Why
Marvel
is
may
Stan
have
Lee?
called
Too
him
busy
and said-
going to D23.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they could have done some small cameo role for him at some point and fitted him into it. So,
yeah,
why is Stan Lee not in this movie?
He was
Because he would have talked about the comic books.
he in the other two movies. He was the mailman.
Willie Lumpkin.
Willie Lumpkin. Yeah.
And I think in the 2005 it was Willie Lumpkin. In the second one, I think he played himself. I think if I
did
remember,
he?
they didn't let him in somewhere. He was Stan Lee.
The wedding.
Yeah, that's right. It was the wedding.
yeah.
The first, he's the mailman, Willie
Yeah.
Lumpkin, and then the second movie, they wouldn't let him into He was Stan Lee, but they wouldn't let him into the wedding.
Ones, right?
He wasn't in First Class. He was in. Was he not?
He was in the first three, but not the.
Is he in any of the Fox ones?
I don't know.
Yeah. He's in Fantastic Four 2005. And,
No,
no,
X-Men.
the
he said.
Oh, Fox. Yeah, the X-Men.
No, those were Fox too, so I was already wrong in my statement, though. So, but is
The
he?
Sony and Spider-Man he was.
Yeah. But is he in the X-Men?
I think he was. I think he was in the the first three, but he wasn't in First Class or.
I don't even think he was.
I don't think.
Was he?
No,
I don't recall him.
I don't think he is.
That's a question for
good
the next
question.
podcast,
Yeah.
I guess.
That's a question for the internet. If we only had little small
That's okay.
devices.
The internet's going to correct us if we're wrong.
I'm sure they will.
When we're on. If you want to correct us, you can go to forums.geekbox.net or the Geekbox and Comic Conspiracy Facebook group. Don't forget to go to geekbox.net and listen to all the previous episodes as well. Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. That's our Comixology page. Go on there and buy some comics. Lots of Fantastic Four comics on there for you to buy.
Really?
So, yeah,
On
sure.
sale?
They're on there. So, yeah, they're
I
always
was
on
gonna
there.
say, it was like, it'd be funny if they have a push for it right now.
Buy the comics, just don't pay for the movie.
The early stuff, yeah. Pete, take your ticket that you were going to pay for the movie and instead go buy $10 worth of comics on our site.
there you go.
You were
Yes.
going to go pay for the movie?
Take your money that you're going to buy your ticket with. Patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy. Go and donate some money to us. Help pay for all our podcast hosting and everything. ConspiratorBrock.com. That's Brock's blog and video pull list. Go check that out. The Infinite Longbox podcast and the Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast. Those are Charlie's other podcasts. Go check those out.
Organized.
Does Namor belong to the Fantastic Four rights, or the Mutants rights, or Marvel rights?
It's a good question.
That's a very good question.
Nobody,
I'm not
nobody
sure.
cares. at
Should
this
be
point.
separate. I mean, he was before all of them. So.
I think people care.
On Twitter, I'm Ryan Higgins. Ryan, Brock Sager. Bryce, hopefully she'll be back. And go check out that Bryce Briefly episode on Patreon.
If
Larson
you don't,
Bryce.
You got to donate.
Larson Bryce on Twitter.
$1.
Toby XI, that's Toby. Charlie's Insanity and Chaos. Brian hates everyone now on the internet with a fiery passion. So
And you can find me at the store on Wednesday.
yeah. He has no Twitter, so you can't harass him.
So if you want to send him,
Send me harassing messages,
if you
and
want
I'll
to send him correspondence,
on.
email Ryan, tweet at Ryan,
Yeah.
or send actual correspondence through the mail.
Yes.
Bah,
shop.
the internet. Bah, tweeting.
Geekbox, Comedy Button, Good Job, Brandon, the All Talk Podcast. Those are some of the podcasts on our little network. Go check those guys out as well. Brian, once again, thank you very much for being
Again,
on.
thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And don't watch the Fantastic Four movie, I guess.
No, watch it. Don't pay for it.